Welcome to Stock Talk. This is your host, Scott. Been a kind of rough week. The Fed raised interest rates again, and of course that brought the markets down. It's been pulling back all week. Been a bad year. I'll be glad when it's over. Maybe we'll have a little bit better luck next year. Uh, these are tough years. These are tough times. To have your money in the market. It's been quite the ride the last decade or so. But you do have years like this, and so you got to be prepared for this. And hopefully you had some cash out, and if you need to live off that cash, you can. That's what I'm doing. But I am watching this portfolio go to levels that I do not like, and it makes you uncomfortable. All those things, but you've got to keep a perspective on this period of time. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we look at the portfolio. But let's go ahead and look at the portfolio. As you can see here, this is a portfolio. You see a couple of green ones today, but most everything was red. And but let's kind of look at the market here. You can see here the Nasdaq was down almost 1%, Dow almost 1%, and the S&P a little bit over 1%. So let's take a look at that Nasdaq. That's what most of mine is the Nasdaq. And so let's take a look at this 5-day chart. You can see a 5-day chart there for the Nasdaq. If I pull up my phone, let's take a look here. If I pull up the phone, it will tell me a percentage. That's why I like the phone as far as looking at percentages for periods of time. That phone app is really good for this. So when you pull up the Nasdaq in the phone and you look at a 5-day period here, you got a Nasdaq that's down 2.72%. 2.72%. Let's take a look at a month. For the month, the Nasdaq is down 4.28%. And then for the 6-month period, you're actually up 0.5%. Okay, so if you just left your money alone, left it in there since June, you'd actually be up 0.5% if you were just all in the Nasdaq here. And so that kind of just shows you, as bad as these weeks seem, and the things that it seems awful every other week, but over the period of time here, you can see that this thing is pretty flat. And so that's why you want to keep that kind of perspective. Now, if you go and you pull up year to date, you're going to see a whole different story there. So we're going to do that. Year to date, you've got a Nasdaq that's down 31.57%. So what you want, if you've got stocks, you want your stocks to be, no worse than the market. But it depends how risky you play your stocks, how risky they are, and sometimes it just depends which stocks are getting hit. And so what you see here is you got a 31% downward trend. Let's look at a 1-year chart. A 1-year chart, you're a little bit better at 29.48%. But so whatever you're holding, if it's down over 30%, that's probably not a good thing. That's where I'm at this year because I've got Tesla and Amazon, and a lot of them's just had a rough time. So it has not been a pretty time for me at all. So we're going to take a look at what portfolio. You can see here we've got QQQs all the way down to Nikola, and pretty good bit of stocks there that we've got. So let's take a look at these. All right, so let's look at our QQQ. First one on the list should reflect pretty much what the Nasdaq has done over this period of time. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Now it says, I don't know about this one, it would be down, showing 9% down in the after hours. I don't believe that's true. Let's see what we got in another app here just to make sure. Or 9, yeah, that wouldn't be right. There it goes. Good, it corrected itself. So you can see here for the day it was down about 1%. Again, it's going to pretty much reflect what the Nasdaq has done for the week. So take a look at the 5-day period. You look at that 5-day period, according to the phone app here, we're down about 2.7%. That's pretty much what the NASDAQ was. 1 month we should be just, let's see here. 1 month I think we're down to almost 4%, 3.9. And then the 6 month we should be pretty close to flat. Let's take a look at that. All right, so here again, the 6 month period, if you had been buying the QQQ, then you would, if you had bought it 6 months ago compared to now, you're actually up 1%. So as bad as it seems, throughout all these weeks, this part of the market has been pretty flat for the last 6 months. And so you hear a lot of talk about capitulation and those type of things. And some folks have said it has not happened yet, but if you look at a 6 month period, we're sitting there flat. So this thing could change. It could move either way. But let's take a look at the year to date on that. We should be in that 31%, and we are. And then a 1 year range, I think it was 29 on the NASDAQ. Yep, same here. So that QQQ tracks the NASDAQ pretty steady, and that's kind of where we're at with that. And so, but it was a bad week, especially talk about a bad week. Novavax had a bad week. They had an offering, share offering. They're already all the way down to 11.03. We sold out at 43. Thank goodness on that. We did give back a lot of money on that one, but I'm glad we got out at 43. So let's take a look at that, just for grins. And I know that is not right. So let's go to the 5-day chart here. I don't know what's going on with Yahoo after hours, but I can promise you that 130 is not right. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the phone app. 5-day period there. 5-day period for the app. They've actually had a bad week, terrible week, down 33%. So you would have lost 1/3 of your money. And you can see here they did have a pretty decent day Tuesday, and they were up until Thursday after this is where they put out the news about the offering. And so you had 2 days of a downward trend that actually clawed its way back up a little bit today. So towards the end of the day. So where's the bottom on this one? Who knows? Let's see, the volume was really high, 38 million versus a normal 6 million. It does have an earnings coming up at the end of February, so good luck with that. But it's a tough one. If you're still in it, that's a tough one to be in. I'm glad I'm not. So one of the better moves we've made this year for sure. And I usually don't like to sell when things are down, but when the management does not do what it says it's going to do, it's time to get out. And so that's what we did. And thank goodness we and that comes from experience, so being in the market and listening to all these conference calls and things like that. And that's when your management doesn't speak truth, it's that time to get out. Amazon. All right, so Amazon is, let's take a look at that 5-day chart, see what we got there. Doesn't look too terrible, just looking at that. Let me pull it up in the phone app and try to get an idea of what we're looking at for 5 days. You're looking at 1.3%, so nothing terrible. Let's just skip on over to the 6 month and see how that's been doing, okay? For 6 months, now see, this is a NASDAQ stock, and it is one of the biggies. The NASDAQ is pretty flat for a 6 month period, but yet you got a stock like Amazon that's down 15%, which makes no sense, okay, to me. So this to me looks like a discounted stock price based on what I'm seeing, and this would be a good place that, and this is not financial advice, but if I had money to put to work right now, I'd be nibbling on some more of this. Now, I bought it after a good dip, but it has gone down ever since I bought it. So, I thought it was a good price a while back, but here we are, and it's down for the 6 month period about 15% or so more than the NASDAQ itself. So that might be a good buy. Google, probably about the same thing here. Let's take a look at this. Google down for the day, like everything else. But let's take a look at the 6 month. Let's just jump to the 6 month. So again, here's a good stock: Alphabet, Google, NASDAQ stock, but yet it's down 15% or so more than the actual NASDAQ. Okay, so again, this is one, if you have cash that you want to put to work, or if I had cash, let's put it that way. If I had cash I wanted to put to work, I would be backing up the truck, or at least nibbling, because we don't know where this thing's going to stop falling, but it's a good discounted price right there compared to the market itself. So you need to get these when they're on sale, and they are on sale. And here's one that's really on sale. Let's take a look at just see how Tesla has done this week. Of course, Elon bought Twitter, and he's focused on Twitter right now, and everybody thinks Tesla's going to fall apart. I don't know. He did sell some stock this week to pay some taxes and things like that. So that probably didn't help it this week, but it's all Fed cutting and increasing rates and things like that. But you can see it's had a rough week. 5-day period. Let's see here. Yeah, 16% in 5 days for Tesla. That is just crazy. And let's take a look at the 6 month. Let's jump to a 6 month chart. Now, this thing is down 29.5% in 6 months. That is, 30% more than the NASDAQ itself. That to me makes absolutely 0 sense. Okay, I know he's sold some stock and he's got Twitter going, focused on Twitter. This could be just the shorts piling in on this thing, and if it is, and we've got a ton of shorts, I don't know what the short situation looks like on this one. It's probably not going to show up anyway, but let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Let's see if we can see shorts. Share short, 77 million. Percent of the float short says 3%. I don't believe that. I believe it's probably more than that now. So, but if this is a bunch of folks shorting in any kind of good news, you're going to have a stock that goes nuts here. Just taking a look at this chart, let's look at the 5-year chart here. You can see where we're at. We are right here. You're going back to this level here, and that's back almost to July 2020, June 2020, around there, or actually November. So we're at November levels of 2020. All right. So is Tesla in better shape a year and a half ago than it was back then? So I'd say yes, it's selling more cars and got a lot of issues resolved that had issues. We'll see. We'll see where it ends up. I still think, again, I just don't see this one going down much further, but they have been beating it to death. So who knows? But if I had cash, that's where I'd be putting some of it. Not financial advice whatsoever, but that's what I would do. But I got to save my cash. GBTC, this is the Bitcoin Trust. Got clobbered this week, I think, as well. We'll see. Let's see what it did for the 5-day period here. This one is at a very discounted price compared to the Bitcoin price. It's not too bad for a 5-day. It's only down 1.2%. So nothing not near as bad as Tesla or Amazon or even Google. So it's held up better than those. 6 month is a totally different story, probably. Yeah. So you look at a 6 month period, and this one's down versus a flat. But again, here, this is a Bitcoin Trust. It is down 37% on a 6 month period. So this one is worse than Tesla and all those others, and way worse than the market, way worse than the NASDAQ. Okay, so this has been a tough one to be in, but it's not going to do any better until you see that Bitcoin price go up. And let's take a look at this one. Let's look at that 5-year. You can see some of these peak levels where this thing has gone nuts at $48. You know, we were at 56 here not too long ago. This was 2022 of March, up at $32 level. And then, you know, down here 27 level was the support at one time, and once it got past that, it just fell down pretty bad. So, but that's the Bitcoin deal there. This is a Bitcoin winter. We're in a crypto winter, and all these cryptos are doing bad. Ethereum, Trust, also Grayscale does this one as well. 5-day period. Let me take a look at that. I think it's going to be worse than the GBTC. Let me just take a look. And 5-day period, 9% down. 6-month period, not as I guess it's not as bad as Bitcoin. It's actually down only 21% or 22% for the 6-month period. Looks almost flat there, doesn't it? Okay, so it was up to about right there. So 7 versus 560. So, but rough period, and that's pretty much the story of all these, pretty much. Hut, we'll go around to Hut. That's the Bitcoin miners. They have been really suffering. This is dangerously low here, under $1. We don't like that. We don't like to see things go under $1 because if they stay there 30 days, they can get delisted, I believe. So we don't like to see this. Now, it wouldn't take much to get this back above that $1 mark, so we don't need to start worrying yet. But these Bitcoin miners are just really suffering. This thing really got knocked down towards the end of the day. It was up to around the 96 level until the end of the day. You can see it got knocked down right here at the end of the day. That's just people dumping it for the end of the week. All those that maybe have tried to make some money this week got rid of it. 5-day period here on this one, down 7%, and at the 6-month period, down almost 40%. So yeah, this is terrible. This has been a terrible one for them. Of course, when you're dealing with these little small share prices, it doesn't take much to do 40%, and that's what happened. But let's take a look at this 5-year chart on this one. You can see that some of these spikes here. This one was here. It was up at the $8 range. Up here, it was at the $15 range. And so we had pretty good support around here, and at least the $3 or $4 range. But right here, $5 range. So we'd sure take the $4 or $5 for it right now. That'd be nice. But we're nowhere near that, and we won't be until this crypto winter's over with, which is still going on, and it will be going on for a little bit longer. I think it's supposed to, the halving of Bitcoins, I think happens November. I think is what I've heard, November. And so in the past, what's happened is Bitcoin has run up into the halving, and then that's where it usually does its bounce when that halving happens. So we're going to take a look at Bitcoin real quick here, just for the fun of it. It's pretty much the same as Hut. 6 months, you can see it's down, and then you do let's take a look at that 5-year chart. You can see where it levels. These are probably good support levels here, right in this 17 range. That's what folks kept calling for it to get down to that 17, 15, and it did get down to the 15 recently, I believe. And but you can see we're way off the highs, 65 versus 16. And here we even had highs of 60. So this would be more realistic, probably maybe a 38. That was a support level. That would be the area that you would probably need to get through before you could even think about these other highs. Would be this 38 and this 36 level. But we're not near that. But this one, it doesn't. You can see here, it can go from 0 to 90 in no time here. You can see what happened here. And let's take a look at this level here. So you're at 10.6 there in September, into September. Let's call it October, and then within a few months, you're way up here to 38. All right, and then you're down here to 32, and then let's see, that was January. So within a month, you jump up to 57. So this thing can go absolutely nuts when it gets going. And so, and you see those spikes. That's usually when it does the halving. So that's what's coming up in November. So hopefully that will be okay. All right, Tilray was the only green one we got today, along with Nikola. So Tilray, I don't think is done terrible, but let's see what it's done. The last, let's see here, 5 days, we're looking at down 6%. Let's pull that up so you can see it. 5 days, down 6%. And then if you go ahead and look at the 6-month period, Tilray is actually up 4.8%. So here again is a good example of, look at your time frames. When you feel like everything's going against you, focus out a little bit, get out a little bit, and look at your range and what's happened to you in the last 6 months versus the last week. And sometimes that'll help make you feel a little bit better. Okay, but in this case, let's take a look at a year out. Okay, so let's just go a year out, and it's all a relative. Okay, because now you're looking at something that was down 58%. So you can see it's all a moment of time, and you just got to be willing to ride these hard times out. And it's, if you got a good stock and it's going to come back, you're in good shape. You don't have to worry about it. You got time. These things will come back. A lot of them. Nikola here. This one's. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the 5 day. 5 day on that one. Let me pull it up on the phone so I can tell you the percentage. 5 day is up 4.3%, so it's actually had a green week. You go to 6 month and it's down 53%. All right, so Nasdaq's down. What I say about flat? I mean, Nasdaq was down. It's pretty flat for the up 1% or so for the 6 month period. This one's down 50%. So it has not done good, but it did good this week. So all relative, all relative. Now, is this going to make it? Is this a good company? What we worry about on things like this when it gets in these low price ranges is when they do these share offerings and things like that. That's when you get diluted, and that's what hurts you. You don't like to go through things like that when you're holding stocks. You like those splits. I mean, sometimes, like, Tesla did a split on us, and that was good. We got 3 for 1, and now it's fallen so far. It doesn't help us a bit. Of course, shares, it's just the number of shares versus the price, and it's all the same. But it's nice to have more shares because when this thing turns, it does good for you. So, but it's been a rough week. It's been a rough year. It's been rough. Has it not been terrible 6 months? If you look far out on the NASDAQ and some of those other markets, probably look about the same for a 6 month period. So, what do you do in times like this? Well, the best thing I have found to do, again, not financial advice by any means, but this is me speaking to me, is to hold on to what you've got, especially if they're good stocks. And always keep cash on the sideline, because especially if you're retired like me, you got to live off cash for while these markets go down like this. Most of these markets that I've looked at in the past, you're talking about a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years that you have a rough go at it, and then the market turns. Most time, okay. That doesn't mean it's not going to be flat 5 years out or 6 years out, but the market turns and you get back to decent levels, okay. So, and then that might be time you think about, okay, well, I'm back to some good levels. I'm going to start putting cash on the sideline again, just in case we have a market turning. Now, what I'm going to do this go round, that one thing I think I've learned in this go round, because I've seen it happen a couple times now, when that Fed starts talking about easing, when it starts talking about easing, there starts talking about we're going to be done with cutting rates, that's when the market's going to probably go up. And so, if you got any cash, maybe that's the time to start putting it to work for sure. And the next thing I'm going to look for is whenever the Fed starts to say we're going to up interest rates to curb inflation or do whatever they're trying to do. Anytime they start talking about changing those interest rates to the upward motion, that's the time I'm going to start unloading shares, because I have not seen that work out well now, 2 or 3 times that they've done it. So that's a lesson learned for me, and I've been doing it for 20 years, so I've seen that happen probably 3 or more times since I've been doing this. So that's a good sign. When the Fed says they're going to up rates, that's a good sign to start taking your profits for sure. Now, we took profits all the time during these good periods. We were buying and selling, But the problem is you're in the market a good percentage, and when it turns, you're in it. And so you can sell for losses, or you can just hang on to what you got. And so this is where I'm at. I'm holding on to what I've got. Wished I'd had even more cash, and I did put cash to work as it went down, but it just kept going down. So everything I've got right now is down, except for the QQQ is just barely down. And I'm going to probably sell that if it pops up a little bit next week, that QQQ I've been buying for the last few months, and just grab that cash and park that cash on the side, because it will not be at a loss. And so we'll put it on the side, and then these real bad days when QQQ drops, I'll start nibbling at it again. And so that way we're buying it on the way down, but we still got that cash back on the sideline. Okay, so that's my game plan. That's what I'm going to do. Is anything I can start selling at a non-loss, which is the only thing that really is going to be anytime soon, is that QQQ. Okay, these other ones are so far down, it would take a really, really good week or a really, really good month to get them back in the green. It took them months to go down this far. It's going to take months to get back up that, to the green area. So that's just the way it is. Hopefully we can ride out the year, and then things have changed by the end of the next year. So, all right. But this is going to be the last video for the year. We'll probably get back on here sometime after the first of the year, and just talk about what we're seeing maybe that first month. But hope you have a great Christmas. Hope you have a great New Year and better year of trading next year. And just hang in there. I know it's tough. It's been a tough year for everybody. All right. So we'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.